Hey guys, we're going to be doing something a little different about the next 2 months. For the next couple months, we're going to be answering some of your questions that you commonly ask us through our social media outlets. Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast, guiding you through the stress bubble of life to your best version. I'm Jim Ramos, your host and guide of today's #1 podcast on Spotify for Christian men. Welcome to the show. Yeah, so the question is, you're a father in a divorce situation. So the children are living with mom and you are divorced, and the mother is bad-mouthing you to the children, and it is affecting how the children view you as a father. So that's the question. So I will tell you, when I was 13 years old on my 13th birthday, my parents sat my brother and sister and I down and gave us the "it's not your fault we're getting a divorce" speech. So I am a child of a divorce. So I understand divorce. I understand that dynamic. My parents both remarried soon after that. So we've dealt with the step parenting. We dealt with the parents divorcing. We dealt with, one parent, is at fault, generally speaking, one isn't, all of that stuff. So here's what I would say to your current situation. First of all, it is all about time. You are playing long ball with your children. So I have always believed that the truth will be told out in time. So you, as you live out your faith and you live out your life as a man of integrity, even if you might have been the cause of the divorce, you continue to just play long ball with your children. So I would say it's about long ball. I would say you should never reciprocate the evil that your wife puts on you. So never reciprocate her evil for you. The Bible says, do not repay evil for evil, right? So you talk your ex-wife up, you talk up your children's mother to them. So when she's speaking evil, you're speaking good things. So that then your kids begin to see, wow, dad never talks bad about mom. So, and that raises your level of integrity. And I would say, man, do the best you can to be the best father that you can be. I had one man who I knew who, after the divorce, he did some things that created a bad situation, but his ex-wife poisoned the well, and his kids wouldn't talk to him. And I remember Christmas was coming, and he was telling me he wasn't even going to buy Christmas presents for his kids. And I said, man, that's a bad decision, because now you're affirming everything she's saying about you. So you, as a dad, now need to do the best you can to be the best father that you can be to those children. You may have to up your game more than you did when you were in the house, to prove to your children that you are a great father who loves them deeply. So you are playing long ball, right? So the truth will always prevail. You're playing long ball. Don't ever badmouth your spouse, and be a better dad than you were before the divorce. So the question is, how do I lead my son or daughter into a deeper spiritual growth while leading them away from legalistic and fundamental religion? So here's what I would say about that. First of all, if by fundamental you mean biblical, I would totally disagree with you. I think biblical Christianity is going to have absolutes. It will have fundamental values. So if by fundamentalism you're saying biblical, then I would disagree. But if you're saying by fundamentalism, you're talking about legalism, like you have to do this and this and this, then I would agree with you. So I want to start there. And here's what I will say to you as a father leading your children. And this is something I wish I would have done more of. I raised my children. I was in full-time ministry. My children went to church. My children were mandated to go to church. So that may be legalism to you. To me, that is something that we as believers do. We take our children, our families to church. Our children were also mandated to attend one other extra church activity that was spiritual, like Young Life, Campus Life, or the church youth group. I was the youth pastor. So they had a great they loved it. But here's the thing I think you as a father should do more. I wish I did this more. You need to let your children watch you wrestle through your faith. In other words, when you tithe to your church, don't do bill pay. Don't throw a couple pennies or nickels in there, spare change. You write that check. You hand the check to your sons and daughters. You let them watch that money go away in the offering basket as they put it in. Let them watch it. Let them hear from you what God is doing in your life. Let them watch you live out your faith through Christian service. The parents that do the best imparting Christianity to their children are the parents who who invite their children into their space. They're wrestling, they're struggling, the journey of where God provided and answered prayers. And I as a father, I was great at teaching my kids the word. We did it 5 days a week at the breakfast table. I was great at getting our kids to go to church and those things. But the part where I feel like I could have done better is bringing my children into my personal life with Jesus and what he did and said to me. So, and that's hard when you're parenting, because parenting is a lot of precepts, but it also involves personhood. So precepts are the rules and the law and the things that would be seen as fundamental. But the personhood is that let them see you interacting with Jesus and wrestling with that. So that's what I would say to this parent. Yeah, so the question, it revolves around the stress bubble, which that is our target audience. It is men who are married with children and a full-time job, and they are paid to support the family's living situation, whether that be renting or a mortgage. And this guy is on the front end of the stress bubble. He's wanting to know, how do I prepare myself and make sure I thrive in the stress bubble? And I would say this, first of all, bro, you just started doing it. The fact that you're asking the question, I mean, most of us have no idea when the stress bubble happens. Man, we're 25 years old and living the life. Next thing we know, we're married, have kids, a mortgage, and we don't know what hit us. And so it's knowing what hits you, what's going to hit you. So knowing what is going to hit you is the first thing. I would say the second thing is preparing your personal life to be that man. So living a life of sexual purity, so you're not bringing sexual bondage or baggage into the relationship. Living a life of financial freedom, so you're not bringing debt and greed into the thing. Living a life of Christian service and holiness before the Lord. I think it's preparing yourself on the front end so that you can have success on the back end. You know, someone once said, play the movie. So play the movie. So you're a 25 to 30-year-old man, you're single, or you're married with no children. If you're married with no children, you're not fully immersed in the stress bubble. So looking to your life down the road 20 years. So you're 50 years old now, you're 55. What do you want that life to look like? Do you want your marriage to be the same one? Do you want your kids to love you and to love the Lord and to have a great relationship with him? Do you want to own your house or own real estate, or do you want to have an investment that's wise there? You know, whatever that is, you need to plan for that on the front end and then work towards that towards the back end. So I think you asked the question, so you are already you're a 1%er. So congratulations there. And then just track your life, what you want it to look like, and then go for it. Also, men, for you, this is your ministry. God has called you to be the hero in your story. We are just the guides, nothing more. God has placed you in your story to be the hero, and so he's asked you to do it. So if you have questions that you would like answered, please ask us. We try to get to them all.